You're walking around with the mobile app in your pocket. You could make as much as $100, and I don't think everybody's going to make $100.
Welcome, friends, to a podcast with interesting people. I'm Adrian Sinclair, and this is the Adrian Sinclair Show. And today my guest is Jeff Bermant, who is the founder of Cocoon browser. It originated and started as Cocoon security-oriented browser, but now his company is shifting into Cocoon MyData Rewards browser, which is offering users of the browser to make money on their data. So we're going to talk to him about his journey and his transition and how this shifting economy of big data is creating opportunities for people to actually reclaim some of their make some money on based on the data that they're sharing freely right now with big companies. So, Jeff, thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate you spending the time in sharing your journey and how you became the founder of this browser. And I want to learn more about your journey. So, thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks, Adrian. I appreciate being on the phone and having a chance to share with your listeners about sort of a new concept of what we've been sort of aced out and what we should be getting for our data.
So before we jump into talking about the browser and what is it that you're developing and why, just tell us a little bit briefly about yourself. How would you describe yourself in 3 words? Very
focused, persistent would probably be the best word I could think of myself. I'm a very persistent human being.
What started you on this journey on building this browser? And tell us tell the audience the secret, how you started and why did you start building a browser that at first was oriented towards security and now towards the data rewards so people can make money.
So, I grew up helping people or, servicing things. I was a tennis player, swept tennis courts. Anything I could do. I worked on a fruit vegetable truck, taking orders and bringing to people. So I've always been that kind of type of person. And I got into tech. I actually was in the real estate business for a number of years and built a lot of successful projects from residential to office buildings. And then got into tech and then realized there was no privacy. And I'm thinking, my God, they're following me around. They know all about me. This is kind of scary. Only to realize that, they know all this, but they don't really do anything with the data. And then it dawned on me, wait, this is about a year and a half ago. Wait, what are they doing with my data? And why aren't I getting paid for my data? Right. Why is this all going to, I don't know who, back then is, who's getting all this data and what are they doing with it? And why aren't I profiting? Because I'm hearing about all these giant profits that Google's making and Facebook's making, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, this doesn't, and I'm a businessman, done very successful, so I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. What's the chromosome that's missing here?
Right. I like how you said that. Because that's what's happening with services on the internet right now. There's a lot of what people think is free this, free browser, free email, free this and that, and we all utilize, or a lot of people are utilizing those things. But it's always at a cost, right? What is the profit motive for the companies to provide these services? They're not just doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. They have a business model, and rightfully so. They want to make money and provide these services, but that's at a cost of privacy, where they are whether scanning your emails or tracking you through cookies and all sorts of technologies in order to see what you're doing online, and then based on that, creating a profile and then being able to sell that. So big data is big business, and we as the end users, aside from whether it's free email or a free browser, we're not getting a lot of money or any money out of that, right? And we're just being served ads. So what made you, tell me, so your browser, Cocoon browser, and the MyData Rewards, which is a browser that gives an opportunity to users, as I understand it, to share their data, might as well make money on this and make some money from it and easily, and that's kind of the business model. Did I get that right?
Yeah, the point was exactly, which is what's missing out of this is you're the product. So if anything is really free, somehow someone's making a buck off of you somehow. And it turns out it's kind of invisible. People don't understand it. Most people don't even get that their data is being circulated. Google, Facebook, all this is being pocketed by them, and Google makes $400 billion off of your data a year. Firefox, for instance, gets paid $300 million for your data bought by Google. So all of these people are making money other than you, and I'm thinking to myself, wait, there is something wrong here. And so, the first thing we built, because I've been in the browsing business, we built a rather successful browser for privacy and security. But why not bring the user in? And so we built a browser. It's not private and secure. It is secure in a sense that no one's going to steal your data from us, or no one's going to steal your money that we make for you. But why not? We try and anonymize as much as we can, and then we sell it for you, and we share in the profit. And you get between 70 and 80%, depending how long you've stayed with us. We have this both in the browser today, and then shortly we'll have an app that's supposed to come out next week that will allow you not only to make money off of your data, your browsing data, but also your geolocation. Because it's another way. And in the long run, there's 100 ways we can help you make money off of your data, and you could actually maybe collecting as much as $2,000 or $3,000 a year from your data versus just giving it away to these guys that they're profiting. Yeah, it's a lovely deal for them, but you're not getting anything out of it, at least not money-wise.
So in other words, you're building a platform, you're building a browser that's going to allow people to make money by sharing their data, what are they browsing, so then these companies can basically purchase that data, but the end beneficiary is the user of the browser.
Sure, exactly. It's a commodity that we can sell for you. Over time, our plan is to have multiple buyers. Once again, we try and keep it as anonymous as we can. We don't ever give out email addresses or names or anything like that. None of that is ever sold. No financial information sold, which is better than what Google and some of those other guys do, which is a free-for-all. We don't sell medical. We don't sell financial. We don't take any of that actually down and put it through our pipe to the buyers. And what we're able to do is we'll eventually have multiple buyers for your data. So it won't be the highest price. It will be the most amount of companies we can get to buy your data with our privacy, in line as much as possible, so that you make the most amount of money. And how we profit is we take a share of that, but we give you most of it. And the plan is the longer you stay, the higher and more money you're going to make with us.
What kind of money are we talking about? What's realistic in terms of a user? So take me through a brand new user onboarding type of sequence. I found out about Cocoon MDR. I'm interested in earning cash by sharing my browsing history, my data. And how does it work? Take me through it.
So it's really easy. First of all, you would come to our site and try cocoon.com. It's desktop right now. It's desktop for both PC as well as Mac, but shortly we'll have Android, mobile, and then we'll have iOS shortly after that. So you come and you download it, and if it's an app, it's just like downloading any other app. You download, you put your a Gmail account in, and what we do, which is different than any other company, is we have you put a PayPal account in. And that's because we want to pay in cash. I actually am not a firm believer in Bitcoin, although if you want Bitcoin, eventually we'll have it for you. But I'm a firm believer that you should just get money. It's as simple as that. So you put your PayPal in, you download the browser and the app, which, don't forget, you can double your amount of money by the geolocation. start walking around, start surfing through us, and you start getting paid. And every month we just send you money into your PayPal account. It's as simple as that.
Wow.
It's being easier.
So that is a very straightforward thing. So what's the next thing to kind of when is this available right now? So trycocoon.com is where people can get the browser right now.
Yeah, that's the desktop, and shortly we'll be announcing the Android, and then a couple months from now we'll have iOS. And this is going to be worldwide. So we're already planning. In fact, we've already opened shop for 11 countries covering 2 billion people. So that anybody can go to PayPal. We're kind of following this path with PayPal, and you can go to PayPal and you can get paid for your data right there and then every month. It's a no-brainer. I mean, you just push the button, pay me, and you end up with 10, 20, 30. Now you asked me about the money and how much money you can make, and it kind of depends on you. So if you're not much of a user of the web, you'll make very little. But if you're, surfing, you're walking around with the mobile app in your pocket, you could make as much as $100. And I don't think everybody's going to make $100, but you could make $100 a month, or probably less. I mean, I see most people making $10 to $20. But don't forget, we're at the embryo stage. Right. So if our users are dedicated to us, we do a great job for them. I'm very focused on the customer. That's most important thing I could possibly think of. Always have been like that. We'll grow, and as we grow, you'll get paid more and more money. And so if you stick with us, this will turn into, I believe, a lot of money for you. And I say a lot, it's not thousands of dollars a month, but it could be as much as $100 or $200 a month, which is a fair amount of money for people.
Yeah, I mean, $100 and $200 a month, that's something that's going to pay for your phone and your internet service. So literally by just doing what you're doing right now, but through a new browser, you're essentially going to be able to pay for some of the services that you're paying anyways. The utility of internet, whether it's your cable or if it's just your mobile phone number, your mobile service. $20 or $50 or even $100 a month. That's something that can totally cover that. So that's something that would essentially just shift that cost that typically you pay out of pocket, and now you kind of get that service for free because it's paid by something that you're doing something anyways, which is browse and use the internet.
Yeah, and here's what I can say. See, so for me versus Google, we'll make a lot less money than Google is, but I'm a lot happier for me as the CEO because I'm helping you or your family make some money where you didn't get to make anything. And sure, you think you're giving up your privacy, but actually you're not giving up anything because that's already gone. You don't have it. So why not profit off of your own data?
Right. So you started this browser with a sort of different intent initially. Take me through the journey of how you think things would turn out and how they actually have turned out with creation of a new browser.
So not in my wildest dream would I have envisioned this kind of crazy ride. And honestly, I'm the guy who puts the money in. I don't ask other investors, although we have investors that are coming on board. But I started this out of being annoyed 10 years ago about the web, where they were following me. They knew all this information. They were sending me ads. I didn't understand what was going on. So I decided to build a browser, what we call a secure browser, which allows you to be safe on the web. You can't be spied on. We have an IP protection in front of you. We gave you antivirus. But what I recognized was there is a small population that really is interested in their privacy. But people will tell you they're interested in their privacy, but they don't really understand what I hate to say it, what they're talking about, because as has been said by Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, there is no real privacy, and he's kind of true. You could use a VPN, and that will give you some privacy, but I hate to say this, but even some of the VPNs will sell your data anonymously, but they'll still sell it to make a profit. So yeah, if you're really serious about your privacy, then we're, maybe our secure product is good for you. But making money, since you have to assume that most of your data is already floating around out there. I mean, go check your history on your search, and it could be a mile long of stuff that you've done in the last 10 years.
Right.
So why not profit off of it? And that's what I came to the conclusion. And I came to the conclusion the user is losing out, and we could form maybe a profitable share where we do all this for you, and we take a smaller cut. All of a sudden, you're in the business of making money, and not Google and not Facebook. And I already know Google's not happy with me. They won't let me advertise on their platform, which tells me I'm on the right path, because they don't want you to know that you can get paid for your data.
Wow. That's interesting. So in a way, do you feel they are threatened by this? Do they see the writing on the wall that this may take away from their business?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I could just imagine. Now, we haven't gotten into search data yet, so that's another place that we could make you money. The reason I haven't jumped into that is because Google search is honestly about the best search engine you're going to find. And Yahoo is okay, and we could use Yahoo, but I'm kind of a mixed type of thing. I want you to have the best service, and I want you to make money. So until we can develop something search-wise that's profitable for you, and there's a great search engine, I'm sort of like, let's stick with the browser. And there's all types of money, because remember, what Google can't see is the last place you went to. So, they can see all the search, they can see what you're doing, but they don't know where you ended up going. You make that last click and they went, oh, it kind of went dead on me. Well, that's where you're making money, because then I'm able to sell that to someone else. And guess what? Eventually Google's going to come around and say, could we buy that data as well? And we go, sure. For a price, I always pay my customers 70 or 80% of what we're pulling in. So they're in the mix with me. It's a real social deal, right? Where I want users to be in the mix with me versus, if I could have them all stock owners, I would.
One of the things that you say on your website is take control over your data. What kind of granularity, how transparent is this to the end user? When they install the browser, do they have ability to select options, what is being shared, or like basically by installing the browser and using the browser and setting up the account and getting paid for it, you're essentially saying anything that I do in terms of browsing is what I'm offering for sale, or is there any kind of control of like what am I willing to share?
Yeah, no, there's no filters yet, except we'll filter hate speech, we'll filter all your financial, we'll filter medical, personal things like that get immediately filtered out. We don't sell those. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of what else, but there's a whole gun rights. We don't sell anything about, if you have guns or anything of that nature. So really the sensitive information of financial and medical, we don't sell. However, let me say this. Eventually, I'm going to have the ability to give you the ability to decide what you want to sell. So you might find out you're not making any money because you decided, I really don't want to sell much at all. Or you can say, hey, sell this, this, and this. And I might eventually be able to come back to you and say, hey, listen, if you have some personal data, like let's say medical, and let's say you've been taking a drug for a long time and you had a great experience, you've had a lousy experience, and you want to share that, that could be valuable information for someone and they'll pay you for it. All this information that you're putting in when you're surfing the web or you're walking around, and including, we haven't really talked about geolocation, all that data is valuable. I mean, literally, if you get in your car and you drive past 20 stores, you can be making money off of that data. Mm-hmm. I mean, I figured out that I could be making as much as $30 or $40 a month just from me driving back and forth to my office. Mm-hmm. And it's about as simple as it gets.
Where does it go next in terms of, obviously you're going to hit the mobile platform that you mentioned. You're developing your browser for the mobile platform for Android and for Apple iOS, where you're going to be able to share geolocation and then make money that way too. In terms of, and the next thing I guess is what you just mentioned, which is the granularity. So you're going to be able at some point to maybe even select what parts I'm going to be able to share or not. But right now it's like pretty much install the browser, connect it to your PayPal to get paid, and then start using it as if it's a regular browser, and then just get paid.
Exactly. Yeah. For now, it's not very granular. This is time to build that all out. It's a scaling issue. But eventually, my vision of this is you're in control of your data. If you don't want to sell anything, you won't sell anything. You'll be private. But if you want to make money off of your data, you can make, if you turn, I have some users turn 12, 14,000 pages a month, and they're being paid $40, $50 for, and this is just, we're just in an embryo state. So if this grows like I think it will be, there'll be a lot of people who want to buy your data. Once again, your name is not there, your address is not there, you're anonymous in that sense. And actually, to be honest with you, they don't really care about your name and address as much as they care about what you're into, what your profile looks like. That's an interesting thing. And when at least when those ads pop up on your browser, you'll go, well, I actually got paid for that.
Right.
Versus they're following me around and I'm not getting anything out of it. And to me, it's just, I have to say, it's kind of dumb that we've all been being schnookered like this for so many years. I've always been tried to be as honest as I could and help people. Wait, we could do a better job of this than what we're doing today.
What do you think was the inception of why people are just so complacent in that sense of, sharing their data? Is it because they just got a free browser that they didn't have to pay for?
Yeah. It's as simple as, I hate to say this, but it's kind of like, we don't know. And it turned out that the quote unquote free is not free. It's your data that's being processed and sold. And it just wasn't very obvious. And obviously Google tells you that, they're making money off of data, but they're pretty secret about that, as Facebook is, and they don't share a lot. But, just doing a little research like I've done, it's like, wow, how much money are these guys making off? Google's got 1.5 billion people. So they're making a lot of money off of your data, and you're just not getting, and you're just oblivious to it. I can't believe when I tell people, your data is valuable, they're like, what do you mean data? Well, when you're searching the web, all that information has got a value to you, and you're not cashing in on it, somebody else is.
Right. What are some of the biggest shockers to you or surprises in terms of talking security to people? Because you did quite a lot of research before you started developing the secure version of the browser, which was the sort of the legacy product right now. And I know you shifted to Cocoon MDR, which is focused on the data rewards and the payout. So what were some of the biggest shockers as you were kind of researching and developing the first browser?
So the shocker to me was what people will tell you and then what they really mean. And so I, like any good entrepreneur, I went out and did a lot of research on browsers and security. I had 10 questions. We went to Starbucks. We interviewed 100 people. I'll never forget, we got 85% saying, oh, I want more privacy for sure. And would you pay for it? Yeah, probably. So then we built this browser, which is amazing. It's really a pretty cool thing. It's nifty because I built it so that there's nothing ever left on your computer where you went or what you did. It makes incognito look silly because remember, in incognito, when you're using it, it's not hiding the data from anybody else but whoever is at your house or you if you don't want to see where you went. But other than that, everybody else in the world, every advertiser can see it if they're in that realm. So when we built it, I thought, I don't really want that. I want everything. If you want to keep it, it's stored in the cloud and it's not on your computer. So that's what I built. But what I was shocked about is really how few people really had an interest in it. And they were, they just didn't understand that they don't have privacy anyway. And as Zuckerberg says, privacy is kind of dead. And unless you're spending $100 or more a year on a VPN, a virtual private network, you don't really have much privacy. And the world, in my opinion, it's a small amount of people that care about their privacy. And most people are like, they don't even know what they're talking about when you talk about privacy. And it's like, wait, I can make some money off my data? Well, I prefer that.
What is the biggest? So first of all, I agree with you. My own personal experience with that is a shocker that, the cameras in our phones and those are your smartphone is a computer. And when all these things came out, that people learned that hackers can hack into your phone and turn the camera on, turn your mic on, and things like that. And there was like a big, rile up about that. And then it just kind of faded away. Nobody just kind of it was just a news that went away. And I was shocked to see that, there's like no cases for your phones that would cover the lens. I guess apparently people don't care about the private, that kind of aspect of privacy. I mean, some people do care. Like you said, there's a minority of people that do care, that they will take some precautionary steps, whether they're going to use VPN or tools or, sanitizing their system so that stuff is not collected. But majority of people just don't care, and especially nowadays in the social media space that we're in, where everybody shares everything about themselves, whether people care about it or not. It's a totally thing that's flipped on its head. Yeah. So the question that I have for you is, what is the next step for Cocoon browser, for Cocoon MDR, media, MyData Rewards, to take it to that next level where people will be like, wow, I need this, I want to do this? What is like the biggest sort of like next step for you as a company developing this to popularize it?
So as we acquire more users, my goal is to make as much money as I can within reason for my users, because this is a customer-based thing, and I'm very serious about doing the best I can for you, because we're on the same side of the ledger. You're doing well, we're doing well, which is kind of unusual in the sense of browsing. Most of it, as we're learning, is one-sided, where they want you to browse as much as they can and they'll make as much money off of you as they can. And as I said, we don't feel that way. So our goals in this coming year is to be in 200 countries, allowing anybody in the world to make money off their data, and we would follow the path of PayPal. Eventually, I'm going to want to pay people back through their credit cards and debit cards. However they're most comfortable getting paid, that's kind of my model. So it's 200 countries, getting all mobile up and running. So you could just stick this, think of this, Adrian, you could stick Cocoon, turn it on, stick it in your pocket, and the next week the next month you've made $30 or $40, never even coming on your browser, but just having sold your geolocation data. To me, it's just like, well, that's just found money. And as we grow in the next year or so, we're out aggressively looking for buyers that will follow our rules. So we're not going to sell your data and they're going to be sending you emails and things of that nature. That's not going to happen. That privacy level is in place. But as many users, many buyers as I can, so you can make the most amount of money.
What is the experience like? What is the browser like in terms of capabilities and in comparison to like the sort of standard browsers out there like Firefox or Chrome?
So we built off of Chrome, and so technically we're a Chromium extension. So as we get deeper into our Chrome, right now you can do almost everything that you do on Chrome if you know how to use Chrome. That you do today. You can download other extensions. You can export your data over into our browser. So you can do all those things, and then it feels just like Chrome. I mean, there's literally, I can't tell the difference. I mean, maybe somebody technically that really digs deep into Chrome will find some features that we don't have yet that Chrome has. But really, that's part of our other goal, is to make this as transparent as we can, but also as great featured as Chrome, and get paid at the same time. I mean, it's just a wonderful world where there is an open source that allows us to build this for you, that we all give back to, and we'll give stuff back to the community. I think we'll be hopefully one of the leaders of showing that this pathway where you're significant part of the mix of getting paid is really the future, and not this. I'll call it selfish because I've never been that way. I believe that if it's your data, you should get paid for it. I mean, Andrew Yang and I, who ran for president, are exactly on the same page on this. I know he's starting a movement about it, and I decided to do something about it. And he's going to try and get Google to pay you something, or Facebook, and I kind of wish him best luck, because I just don't think, unless there's hundreds of millions of users that are clamoring to do this, will they ever do it. So why would they ruin their own business?
Right. Well, that's kind of like what I wanted to poke out over here a little bit, because you mentioned Chrome, which is Google's browser. So you're using the open source Chrome framework to essentially build your own browser, because that's going to be the next kind of thing for users. Like, how is this? Is this browser, well developed? Like all these kind of creature comfort features that you are used to when you're using a browser, your standard browser, you would want to have in whatever browser you're switching to. So I think that the money aspect is what's going to be obviously the convincing part. People will be like, hey, I'd love to make money if I, just by doing what I'm doing right now and getting paid. That's great. How often how does this work in terms of like the payout? So using PayPal to do this, to get the people paid, how often do they get paid?
So, we have two different models. Desktop is different, and it's interesting. And I didn't know this until I got into the business. Desktop and mobile are two different creatures of how you get paid. Desktop is much more about advertising. And so it takes us a while to get paid from advertising. It can take as much as 60 days for us to get paid. And as soon as we can get paid, we pay you. In fact, you can make it shorter by borrowing money so that you can get paid quicker if possible. But so that's about 45 to 60 days after you close out the month. So let's say you close out the month in January, you'll get paid by the end of April on your first month data, then every month thereafter, but it's trailing months. On the phone, since we haven't launched it yet, our model is you'll get paid faster, and that payment will probably come within 30 days within 30 days after that month is done versus 60. I have a different structure for that, so I'm hoping it's within 20 days of the end of the month. So you closed out that month, and within 20 or 21 days, I've actually paid you for that data. So I'm hoping it's as fast as I can possibly make it. Once again, benefit of the user. And as long as we can afford to do that, we're going to do it.
What is the next, if all the planets and universe would align for you, what is it going to take to make this a massive viral success on global scale?
Well, tell your friends, first of all. I mean, if you can get paid for your data and explain to them that you don't have the privacy you thought you had, and you sign up for it, that will be one way, of course. And I'm hoping that people just catch on and they realize, wait, why am I just giving this away? Maybe we're not the only ones in the business. That's fine. I want to be the best at what I've done. I've always been that way, from tennis to my real estate business and now into tech. I believe the way you can be the best is to take care of your customers. And I know Google and others say they do that, but they leave out the part of paying you. And to me, that shouldn't be the case. There's no reason you shouldn't get paid. Sure, will we make less money? Absolutely. Will you make more money? Absolutely. And I think that's the way it should be run. And I guess I'm more of a progressive person, where I believe that users and other people should have a role and share in this. I mean, really, you have to take home $1 zillion to yourself. What are you going to do with all that money?
Right. Aren't you afraid of these giants, though? The Googles, the Facebooks, all these huge platforms that have billions and billions of users, that are trillion-plus dollar companies that have a lot of clout. Aren't you afraid of them trying to squash the effort?
Well, as I told you, Google's already put their flag in the ground by not allowing us to advertise. They said we were a fraud or a fake or a scam or something, which of course we're not. I don't run things like that. But sure, there'll be a fight, and I'm hoping that the user's the winner. I mean, after all, this is about you guys and less about me, because you're getting the majority of profit. And I'm hoping the world just says, wait, maybe Google should join us. I'm probably a lot less wealthy than most of my guys in the real estate market because I didn't feel like I needed to, be worth $1 zillion. What are you going to do with $73 billion?
Right. So you think there is a balanced approach where an equilibrium can be struck between this imbalance that looks like an imbalance right now, where you have these huge corporations that basically collect all this big data, and then shifting kind of like some of that power and some of that wealth back to the consumer, who's the source of that wealth, of that data, big data being sold. That there is some kind of a happy medium, and even maybe potentially some kind of a hybridized future in which things are like a little bit more evened out.
Yeah, we're all talking about today about billionaires and how much money they have, and I know a lot of billionaires and how much money, how much they've made. And to me, we talk about this all the time, where they're getting in there. I'm not saying I wouldn't get in a private jet, but a lot of them are getting in private jets, and they're spending zillions of dollars on all types of stuff. And to me, it's like, wait, we have a lot of starving people in the world. We have a lot of people who are unhappy with their lives. Can't we help them? And I give credit to a lot of the billionaires who have dedicated their money to other things, a wonderful thing, versus, taking it to your grave. So I commend them for that. But I'm all more about social. I mean, look at all the social sharing we do. We're in a world today where social sharing is more important. After all, what's happened to us is we all know a lot more about each other. I mean, Twitter is, obviously one of the culprits. And then there's Facebook and others. So we're already doing social sharing, and like Andrew Yang, and my viewpoint is, well, you might as well be paid for your data versus this crazy thing where it doesn't cost me that much to run these servers and to make money. So why shouldn't you be in the mix?
Right.
To me, I understand, the concept of taking 100% of the profit. But I don't see a need to do that.
Well, what is the takeaway from this this conversation over here, Jeff? Tell me about what is the call to action that you want to leave the viewers with? Obviously, you want to popularize this browser. You want this message to go out there that we want to bring in some of that money back to the user side. Anything else that you want to kind of send out as a public message to everyone who's listening to this show as a sort of a summary to our conversation?
Yeah, this is really important to me. We're all equal. I mean, Black Lives Matter for sure. I mean, what a terrible event. But I think we can treat each other better. And this is one of the ways that I can treat other people. And that, by spreading the word, sure, we're going to make some money. I'm not going to be shy about make money. We're out of business, and so are you. So we want your users to try us. When we have mobile come out, we'd like you to try mobile. We'd like you to tell your friends. We'd like you to get behind Andrew Yang and his push to get Google to recognize that the user is important and should get paid for their data. And maybe someday that will happen. But meanwhile, why not profit off of your data today, not wait around for maybe Google to finally say yes? And so if you're using our product, you'll get there, and that you've met the guy behind the scenes that, loves this idea of sharing. I mean, to me, this is a dream come true, where I can actually make my investors happy making money, and I can also tell them, no, you're being too greedy because I'm in charge. And the user getting the profit. It's just a great deal for everyone.
Sounds like a win-win situation. Where can people find out more about your browser? There's trycocoon.com. Any other places where people can find out more, or I assume that's a place on your website where they can download it and try it out. Any other thing that they need in order to start using it?
Sure. I mean, you could go to Get Cocoon. That's another place you can find it. Just be a little careful because we have two products named Cocoon. So you're looking for Cocoon MyData Rewards, or MDR, not Cocoon Secure, because that's the secure browser. You want to get paid for your data, so make sure you find, you can even just type in MyData Rewards and we'll come up, I think it's the first thing. But that's what you want to use. And, it's going to start small. You're not going to be a millionaire off of this, but you'll see that your data has value. And if you stay with us and you use it regularly, you'll profit from it.
Where do you see your company in a year or two? What's the future for Cocoon browser?
I would like to see, millions of users using this, profiting. Nothing would be more fun and more of a vision. As a visionary, you look and you say the world's changing, and the world is changing, and we're becoming more social, and we're beginning to share more. I mean, you see this in the politicians today saying, why is it the way it is? And I'm a great believer that, no, we could share more and it'd be a much better place. So to me, you get behind us, we're part of that movement of let's share the data, let's share the money versus it just one-sided.
Maybe that's going to contribute to the sort of better equalization in terms of wealth distribution, where people can at least, even in a tiny amount, solve their financial problems by not having to pay for some of the things, because their browser and their internet activities would be paying for that. So I think that's something that anyone can get behind and easily understand. So try cocoon.com.
I actually have a call. Into AOC. Like, AOC, we should be getting, not just for me, but the fact is I can now pay you for this data. We should all be, looking at this, and they may not fit for everyone. Maybe it's not the perfect browser or the perfect app for you. No harm, no foul. But if you're looking to make just a little more money, particularly in these hard times, I mean, this is brutal what's happened to us.
Right.
And so, so just making a few more dollars in our pocket by not really doing much. I mean, a lot of the browsers or a lot of the competition make you fill out forms. They want to know. I saw one the other day. They wanted to know my birth date and where I was born and all types of stuff. We don't want any of that information. I don't want that information. We just want you to enjoy yourself on the web and know you're getting paid, or you're walking around and you're getting paid for your data. And I'll keep you as private as I possibly can.
Well, Jeff, thank you for sharing, and thank you for building out such a wonderful product. I believe in this, I believe in this and tools and other tools like this that allow people to kind of reclaim some of the wealth that they are sort of sharing unwittingly by just sharing their data. Big data is big money, and a lot of companies, are profiting off of this in such great extents that, and let me just be clear about it. I mean, I do like how Google is providing a lot of services and everything, but I think it also becomes right now very top heavy in a sense of the company is growing. People could be benefiting from that, and they aren't. And even $20-$30 a month, that's probably somebody's cell phone bill. So that's something that could just offset some of that. If you make $100 a month, it's $1,200 a year. That's something that pays for your cable, for your internet, and your phone. And that's something that basically should be, in some countries actually look at it as basic utilities, where you should have access to that. And this would be a wonderful way of kind of offsetting the cost of having these services. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. Thank you for talking and explaining and building this out. And I really appreciate it. And good luck with the success of your browser.
Adrian, a pleasure to talk to you and to your listeners. And what a great interview this has been. I've so enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for those of you out there, check out trycocoon.com. You get that browser and check it out. See if you like it, and see if it if this is something that you can stand behind. And if you like that, share it with others. If you're going to make some money, I'd love to hear about it. Put some comments in the comments over here. And what do you think in terms of this general conversation, which is about how we as users can reclaim some of our data and make some money off of it through just regular activities on the internet as we normally do. So provide that. If you like this conversation, share it with others and spread the message. I appreciate it. I'm Adrian Sinclair, and this is the Adrian Sinclair Show.
Thanks for listening to a podcast with interesting people. Please subscribe and leave a review or comment.
And support us by sharing our episodes on social media. We really appreciate it. And for more information, visit us at apodcast.com. Thanks.